This is a Cub Cadet Model 149 hydrostatic International Harvester built garden tractor. I built the front end loader about now probably 12 years ago, and I've been using it all those 12 years. It actually paid for itself. I'll tell you the history behind how I built it and the parts that I used that I can remember where I got. Like I said, it's been 12 years and getting older, and I forget. These are weights on the just from a weightlifting set that a friend of mine got. Put them on there with some all thread. They were 15 pounds each, and there's two of them on there. This is the International Harvester Cub Cadet rototiller that came with the tractor when I picked it up in Michigan from my grandpa. And you can see that actually works. I had to add a pulley on here though to help keep the belt tight, because I can't seem to buy a belt the right size, and it was always slipping when I was rototilling the garden. Another two weights on this side. We'll just start here with the dual spool valve. I bought this on eBay came off of a John Deere 318. Guy was selling. It was about 80 bucks back then. I bought the hoses. All of the hoses came from Northern Tool. And I had to buy the fittings to fit on this valve, because I used the original valve fittings off the John Deere. So I went to hydraulichose.com, I believe, or hydraulic fittings somewhere online, and I bought the fittings for all the hoses there. The hydraulic cylinders, I got 3 of them. These are the longer ones, 2-inch bore. Got those from Northern Tool as well. I built the whole loader out of diamond plate steel that I had laying around, and all of these arms and all this came from a steel table a friend of mine gave me. I cut it all down and re-welded everything and kind of just welded it together and put it together. I have a subframe that it sits on, which is mounted to the tractor. The hydraulic pump I got that from Northern Tool as well. That's a 4 to 6 gallon per minute pump. And on this tractor, I don't know if I can get in there, maybe on the other side. I'll show you where I mounted the pump and why. I mounted it here. Back down in here, there's a pulley. Yeah, you can see it. There's a pulley that originally on the back of that motor for some reason. And I just disconnected the drive shaft, looped the belt around there, and then it goes down and runs the pump, which is down underneath. This is my tensioner. I got a nut on the back side of it, so you can tension and lock it in to tension the pulley, the belt tension for the hydraulic pump. So now this thing sits outside all the time because I don't have a shed to put it in right now still. And I'm running 1 cylinder on the bucket, which 2 would be best, because this bucket is real heavy because the steel that I had was real thick, so it's about a 150-pound bucket. It's just, you do what you got to do. And this is supposed to be temporary, this whole thing, until I got one for, 2 cylinders for each side. But, temporary sometimes. You don't have the money to invest into an extra cylinder for your hydraulic, for your front end loader if you got to, feed the kids that week. And got my chain here hooked onto the bucket. I made these teeth out of some steel I had laying around. I couldn't find any old railroad track spikes. Like, you used to be able to get a bucket full of those for free. So in Florida we have a lot of roots. So I welded 2 chunks of this real hard track that I had together. You can see I welded it together, and I cut them on an angle with my cutoff wheel, and then welded them right to the bucket. That way when I'm digging, and I hit a root, it'll just pop that thing right out. I've pulled out trees, pretty good sized trees with this thing, and shrubs all around the house. I feel that garden tractors are a little underrated with most homeowners and most people, especially these older ones that are well built, steel frame. You know, like I said, this is from the 70s. I never looked up the serial number for the for this model. And I do a lot of stuff with this. It's the loader. I've done jobs with it for people, and it's paid for itself. It cost me probably about $800 in parts to build, between the hydraulic lines and the fittings and the cylinders and welding rods. It would normally cost about $1,200, I think, to build if you have to buy the steel. But if you can just start holding on to steel that you get, then you'll be better off right there. And like I said, I made a subframe so I can still run the rototiller off from the front PTO like it was originally set up for, by running the pump separately off that other back pulley. And we'll get some videos of this thing running and tilling for you, because we're going to be tilling up the garden. And like I said too, these older garden tractors, if you got a small bit of land and you just need to do some mowing on it and some pulling a wagon, even if you don't have it, or you can get one with a rototiller. These things sell, you know, very inexpensively. I down in Florida, they're rare, but up north, like Pennsylvania, you guys up in Pennsylvania, you get them for $200, $300, $400 for a nice tractor with a rototiller and a mower deck, maybe even a snow blade. Front end loaders are a little more expensive. They're more rare. You buy a loader all by itself, you're looking sometimes to $1,000 to $1,500. I've seen people, once they get them, they don't let go of them. Now, I did do another modification here on the original tractor, which was I added boat trailer axle spindles to my original spindles, and I put the hubs on it so that they're roller bearing hubs, right for like a boat trailer. And then these are actually rear tires off of a newer Cub Cadet mower tractor that I had, that somebody had given me. So I said, well, those will fit my 4-bolt pattern. So I put them on there, and they steer a lot better. And I don't have to worry about the bearing. With the weight of something in the bucket was tearing up the little bearings that were in the original Cub Cadet wheels. So then I upgraded to these, and I've never had a problem since. These will hold 1,000 pounds. I get 300-400 in the bucket, and then with only the rototiller on the back, it actually, I always end up going up off the ground. I do have a weight bracket that goes onto the loader subframe to where I can put 600-700 pounds of concrete blocks on when I do like a heavy duty job. I moved a dump truck load of backfill like clay, and it had a lot of big limestone rocks and stuff in it, so I put the weight box on for that, and that really helped. And it kept a lot of the weight off the front end too, because you get something in the bucket, first thing, all the weight goes right up front, because that's what these do. These hold the loader and they transfer the weight right to the front end of the tractor. And it's really easy. You get a couple 100 pounds in there, and then your back end is lifting up already. But if you got enough weight on the back, but not on the axle, but on the back of the tractor, then it steers better than if you don't have all that weight on the front. One thing would be nice is if you had power steering, because like I said, when you get a heavy load in that bucket, it's going to be hard to turn. And I've had to upgrade and rebuild the steering on this a few times, because they weren't were not designed to have a front end loader with a bunch of weight on the front of the steering. They were just made to turn around and, with no weight, no excessive weight on the front. But like I said, we'll the video going of us here running it. I'll probably have my wife do it. That way I can be operating the tractor, and then somebody can take, kind of an expanded version of the tractor running and going. I just wanted to get this out there and show people that these underrated little tractors, for the money, on a small little, homeowner slash maybe even, homestead, you can do a lot of work with it. You can get a lot of stuff done, and you can have a lot of fun too. And then you're not spending $10, $12, $13, or $20,000 for a new fancy tractor, or at least I think they're fancy. This one's pretty not fancy, as you can tell. We got the cushions here. There's a seat, it just falls apart. That was a $100 seat that I got from Northern Tool, and 1 year it was destroyed, and it's about 4 years old now, what's left of it. So I would use these old cushions that actually the neighbor gave them to me when I bought. They gave me another mower that had a bad seat. I actually have a new Cub Cadet seat for this I'll be putting on eventually, but I don't want to have to leave that outside and have it get destroyed as well. I mean, I'm all for painting up a tractor, but you know, I use this tractor and I don't have time to paint. So if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them down there in the comment area. I'll be more than happy to tell you anything that I could help you with if you want to decide to build your own homemade front end loader for a small garden tractor. I modeled this after an Alice Chalmers 416 that we used to have, and it came with a factory arc loader on it, and boy, that thing was handy. When we moved to Florida, we stored it in my grandpa's barn, and his barn burned down, and so did the tractor. That was a sad day. This is just a single cylinder engine. Those familiar with the Cub Cadet, this is a single cylinder Kohler 14 horsepower engine. I very rarely go over half throttle because I'm not turning anything, you know, like a mower deck. You want your blade spinning real hard. Here, I run it at about half throttle when I go out there, and she just goes along fine, tills up the small garden that we have, and it's a lot of fun to run. So like I said, go ahead and subscribe, and that would really help us out here with our little homesteading, gardening Florida channel. And we can make some more videos and do some more cool things. All right, have a good day.